Because on a real super yacht operation, especially when conditions are moving, guests are watching, and timing is tight, tender recovery is one of the most controlled, high-pressure, and quietly complex maneuvers on board. And here's the consequence most people never consider. If you get it wrong, you don't just waste time. You risk damage to the tender, damage to the yacht, crew injury, guest discomfort, and in some cases, a full schedule disruption that can cost thousands in fuel, repositioning, or lost charter time. But if you understand the exact sequence experienced yacht crews follow, you move differently. Cleaner operations, faster recoveries, zero chaos on deck, and a level of control that looks almost James Bond effortless from the outside. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the full onboard tender recovery process on a super yacht, step by step. Exactly the way professional crews do it. No guesswork, no skipped steps, just the real operational flow. Let's begin. Phase 1. Pre-recovery briefing and readiness check. Confirm recovery window and yacht positioning before anything moves. You confirm the yacht is set for recovery. That means speed is reduced, stern or side access is stable, and the captain has committed to the recovery window. Why it matters is simple. A yacht that is still adjusting position creates unpredictable water movement around the stern platform. That makes tender alignment inconsistent. If skipped, you end up chasing a moving target, increasing collision risk between tender and hull. Pro tip: seasoned crews always square off the yacht slightly into the swell before recovery. It reduces sideways drift and gives the tender a predictable approach. Corridor design rolls with absolute clarity. Every crew member involved knows their exact position: bow handler, stern line handler, winch operator, and deck supervisor. Why it matters here is coordination speed. On a yacht, seconds matter because wind and swell change constantly. If skipped, instructions overlap, signals are missed, and the tender arrives before the deck is fully ready. Insider detail: on high-end yachts, hand signals are standardized and never improvised. Even in loud wind conditions, verbal communication is secondary to visual commands. Inspect recovery equipment and deck space. You check winches, fenders, tender chocks, and all contact points on the swim platform or garage door system. Why it matters is load safety. Even a minor equipment fault becomes critical under weight transfer. If skipped, a winch failure during lift can cause uncontrolled swing or partial drop. Pro tip: experience deckhands lightly load test winch tension before the tender even arrives, just to confirm response delay is 0. Batch 2. Tender approach, coordination establish final approach line with the yacht. The tender driver aligns with the yacht at a controlled angle, usually 20 to 30 degrees depending on sea state. Why it matters is stability during final correction. A straight-on approach is rarely used because it reduces maneuvering flexibility. If skipped, the tender can be pushed offline by wake or wind gusts at the last moment. Pro insight: professionals always approach slightly upwind or upcurrent to allow natural drift into the recovery zone. Reduce speed to controlled idle before contact zone. The tender slows to near idle before entering the final 20 to 30 meters. Why it matters is reaction time. At speed, corrections become exaggerated and unsafe near hull surfaces. If skipped, even a small wave can cause hard contact with the yacht's fender line. Little known fact: most tender damage incidents don't happen at full speed. They happen in almost stopped confusion moments where throttle input is inconsistent. Maintain constant visual contact with deck crew, the driver, and deck supervisor. Maintain continuous eye contact or signal reference. Why it matters is synchronization. The moment either side loses visual coordination, timing breaks. If skipped, the tender may be ordered in too early or too late, causing misalignment with lift or hook points. Pro tip: high-end yachts use designated lead signalers whose only job is to lock visual focus with the driver at all times. 3. Final positioning and stabilization align tender exactly with lift or platform markers. The tender is guided into pre-marked recovery zones on the yacht's stern or side platform. Why it matters is mechanical alignment. Lifting systems are not forgiving. They require precise positioning. If skipped, the tender may need repositioning, increasing engine use near hull structures. Insider detail: many yachts use subtle deck markings invisible to guests, but critical for crew precision in low visibility. Neutralize engine thrust at final moment. Once in position, the tender goes to neutral and prepares for secure attachment. Why it matters is safety during transfer of load. Any residual thrust creates sideways pressure. If skipped, the tender can push against the yacht during hook-in, damaging gel coat or fittings. Pro insight: experienced operators briefly pulse neutral twice before full disengagement to confirm zero prop wash. Secure initial line connection immediately. Bow or stern lines are attached before lifting begins. Why it matters is stability. This prevents drift during mechanical recovery. If skipped, wind or swell can shift the tender off-center during lift initiation. Little known fact: on some yachts, magnetic or quick-release hook systems are used to reduce human error in fast recoveries. 4. Lift and transfer recovery operation: initiate controlled lift or winch engagement. The yacht's crane, platform lift, or garage system begins lifting the tender slowly. Why it matters is weight transition control. Sudden tension causes swing instability. If skipped, the tender can oscillate, increasing collision risk with the yacht hull. Pro tip: lifts are always started at soft tension mode before full hydraulic load engages. Monitor swing and dampen movement instantly. Crew members stabilize the tender during lift using guidelines. Why it matters is pendulum control. Even small swings amplify with height. If skipped, the tender may swing into structural surfaces or equipment. Insider detail: elite crews use micro corrections in line tension rather than large pulls, which keeps movement nearly invisible. Guide tender into cradle or garage alignment. The tender is slowly directed into its final storage position. Why it matters is precise fit. Superyacht garages are engineered with millimeter tolerances. If skipped, misalignment can damage hull paint or structural fittings. Pro insight: experienced crews always overguide, then settle back, rather than trying to land perfectly in one motion. 5. Securing, stowage, and system shutdown lock tender into final securing chocks. Once in position, the tender is physically locked into cradle supports. Why it matters is sea stability. Without proper chocking, movement at sea can cause structural damage. If skipped, even calm water can cause micro shifts that stress fittings over time. Pro tip: crews double-check chock pressure points visually and manually, even when sensors confirm placement. Shutdown systems in correct sequence. Engines, electronics, and fuel systems are shut down in a controlled order. Why it matters is safety and maintenance. Incorrect shutdown can cause electrical faults or fuel vapor risks. If skipped, you risk long-term system degradation or onboard hazards. Insider detail: most professional crews follow a cool-down interval before full shutdown to preserve engine life. Secure environmental protections and covers tender is covered and sealed for exposure protection. Why it matters is preservation. Salt, sun, and spray degrade finishes quickly. If skipped, cosmetic and mechanical wear increases significantly between uses. Pro insight: premium yachts treat tenders like luxury cars, not utility tools. Protection routines are strict and non-negotiable. 6. Post-recovery inspection and reset: conduct full deck and equipment inspection. Crew checks winches, lines, and platform systems after operation. Why it matters is readiness for next deployment. Small issues compound if ignored. If skipped, next recovery cycle becomes riskier without warning. Pro tip: seasoned crews log even non-fault observations for trend tracking over time. Reset deck to guest-ready condition. All operational equipment is cleared or hidden from guest view. Why it matters is experience quality. Guests should never see operational friction. If skipped, the illusion of effortless luxury breaks immediately. Insider detail. The best yachts can transition from full recovery operation to guest-ready calm in under 10 minutes. Tim readiness for next deployment cycle. Everything is reset and confirmed for future tender use. Why it matters is operational flow. Yachts operate continuously, not in isolated tasks. If skipped, delays accumulate across the entire itinerary. Problems and mistakes to avoid most failures in tender recovery don't come from big dramatic errors. They come from small timing issues, unclear communication, and rushed final positioning. The biggest mistake is treating recovery as a single action instead of a sequence. Every phase depends on the one before it being done correctly. Another common issue is overconfidence in calm water. Even light swell changes alignment timing more than most people expect. And finally, the silent killer of smooth yacht operations is inconsistent communication between bridge and deck crew. One missed signal can cascade into a full reset. Closing. Now you understand what actually happens during a superyacht tender recovery operation. It's not just boating. It's controlled choreography under pressure, designed to look effortless while being anything but. And once you see the system behind it, you'll never look at yacht operations the same way again. If you've ever been on a yacht or watched a tender recovery in real life, what part surprised you the most?